Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much, and remember.
Thank you for joining us this beautiful Saturday morning. Members of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, we all call them Pengasan, this week threatened to shut down oil production in Nigeria for 30 days.
Wow.
30 entire days if the federal government fails to curb the lingering massive oil theft in the Niger Delta. The union members staged protests in various parts of Nigeria, including Abuja, Warri in Delta State, Kaduna, and Port Harcourt in Rivers State. We all know what will follow, of course. Oil being our major foreign exchange revenue earner. Now, we will engage Pengasan this morning and find out exactly what is pushing them to take this kind of decision. It's our pleasure to welcome Comrade Osifo Festus, who's president of Pengasan. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Alero.
Thank you for joining us. 30 days entirely? Why would you do a thing like that to this nation?
Alero, for us, you know, we are senior staff association in the Nigeria oil and gas industry. So our preference has never been strike. Our preference has never been to shut down tools. Our preference has always been constructive dialogue. That is why in the last 1 year, what we've done invariably was how to engage government. So we have been engaging government in the last 1 year. We have engaged all the stakeholders. We have engaged, from the regulators to the operators in the industry to security agencies. We have engaged them on how to curb this menace of oil theft. Because for us, our members cannot continuously labor in vain. Because on a daily basis, we go into the creeks, we go into oil production facilities in all different parts of the country, most especially the Niger Delta, to get oil produced. So we cannot keep producing oil and pumping them into pipelines, and at the end of the day, a majority of the oil are stolen. Then it has gotten to a point where employers of labor and the producers in the sector in some areas cannot meet the salary obligations, because as of today, productions are shutting naturally. A lot of companies operating in the land areas, they have shut in their production. OML 58, for example, operated by Total E&P, has been shut down for a very long time. As of today, after a while, what they now did was that they now felt that, okay, instead of us shutting down completely, because the well is a well that produces gas at the same time. So instead of us shutting down completely, what they now did was that they produce the oil, they now re-inject the oil back into the well, but they now export the gas. Then you have ADAX, the same thing, OML 124. They've shut it down because producing and pumping into the pipeline, everything goes. You have same problem with AGIP, then you have a bigger problem as well with MPDC. Most of their production today, the oil they produce are being stolen. So why do we keep producing, and at the end of the day, you have some miscreants out there that steal this? So we have engaged government in the last 1 year extensively on this, on the best way forward. We have made several recommendations on what we think could be done, both at the short and at the long run. But they are foot dragging to implement some of these things, and they are foot dragging to get them done. So for us, it's out of national interest because Pengasan, we are a very patriotic institution. So we came out and said, no, enough is enough. We've had a lot of engagement behind closed door, but at this point in time, we needed our voice to be heard. So that was why we held our rallies across our major operational areas, and that is why, again, we said we are going to further engage government. If there is no appreciable progress, then our members will be withdrawn, because as of today, Alero, do you know that a lot of our members are being threatened in some of those locations where the operators decide to shut production? Some of these people, they will place a call to our members threatening them that they should resume production, otherwise they will come and blow up the entire plant because they want to steal the crude. So it's a fundamental problem that all well-meaning Nigerians must close ranks and must come together to address.
Mr. Sifo, crude oil is not something you can steal and put in your pocket. Oil exploration is very technical. So special equipment is required. So those who are involved in this thing, it must be a very organized, syndicated, body or whatever you want to call them. It's not Alero just going there with a bowl or something and scooping oil. So, I mean, you must have information regarding those who are doing this.
Yes, Alero, you are very correct. Crude oil production is a very complex business. Pumping this crude oil into the pipeline from the production facilities to the terminals, it also requires a lot of expertise. In fact, when you pump crude oil into pipeline, you have several PSIs of pressure that are applied to that pipeline because the crude moves due to pressure differentials. So the pressures, are quite high. So if you have a novice that go close to that pipeline to tap that pipeline, at the end of the day, you are going to have explosion. The person is going to die. So for you to be able to tap this pipeline, for you to be able to get this done professionally, then you must have good equipment, which you have said. But as of today, we have realized that there is a total collusion going on in the Niger Delta. That collusion cut across all stakeholders in the industry, cut across several strata of Nigerians. It includes the security agencies you send to that particular area to man those pipelines. It includes people from the host communities. It includes people that are not from the host communities. They have international collaborators. They have some people that are even working the oil and gas companies or may have even retired. So it's a big business going on. But again, people could plan to perpetrate crime. But what we are saying is that the government must develop the will to be able to solve the problem. Because today, we have no business in borrowing money from international financiers and even crowding local banks. Because as of today, in the last 7-8 months, crude oil has been selling for above $100 per barrel. This is the first time that that crude oil is selling at this such high price, and we are running everywhere to look for money. We are running deficit budgeting to that humongous level. So the government should first of all sit up, knowing that their revenue is going down, knowing that, there are a lot of crises, both macro and microeconomic crises that we are facing today as a nation. Then, beyond the government, today, a lot of investors are shying away from coming to invest in the Nigeria oil and gas business. Outside the issues bordering on energy transition and the finances of fossil fuel, but they still go to other areas to do such investment. Our environment today is becoming a bit toxic. Our environment today, they are driving away investors. And even those that are here already, it is difficult for them to invest in capital projects, most especially in our onshore operations. So as you have said, it's a cartel.
Well,
it is a total conspiracy across board.
Mr. Sifo, comrade, just 1 second. So one of the issues that you have raised, I'm just wondering, you said it's a cartel of sorts, very, very organized. Is there any way that some members of your organization have also been indicted in this cartel?
None to our knowledge as of today. But as you know, we are not security agencies, so we may not know. In every organization, you may have one or two persons that could be involved in one or two infractions. So I cannot stand here to say Pengasan members that are over 30, 40,000 spread across the nook and crannies of Nigeria, that they are all sent. I cannot stay here to say that. But what I could say is that as of today, there is no member of Pengasan that has been indicted. There is no member of Pengasan that the law enforcement agencies have brought forth to say that they are part of those colluding. But that does not exonerate anybody.
Now,
so for us,
I'm glad you said that. I mean,
we are holier than thou.
That's just to put that on the table. Just
if any member...
That's just to put that out there. I mean, so that people will not say, okay, well, maybe some of their members, at least it is something that is well known. But the point that one of the other points that I want to raise is that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and he is also Minister of Petroleum. Are these information unknown to him, as well as the Minister of State for Petroleum? Do you think they are unaware that some of the people you have indicted in your statements and at your press conference, do you think they are not aware of these things?
If you listen to the group CEO of NNPC about 2 weeks ago, when he addressed the press conference in the villa, he alluded to some of the things that I'm also saying here today. So he made this press statement in the villa. So that shows clearly that we are all in sync. So the problem in Nigeria is that, before now, government, they've always come out to say that they know those that are financing the bandits, they know those that are financing the terrorists. But how many have they prosecuted? So I think, and I believe strongly, that as a commander-in-chief, the information available to him is even much more than the information out there, certainly, due to the privilege of the office he is occupying. So we strongly believe, and we know, that they have sufficient information to fight these menace. But the problem is the will. Today, you send
if the problem is the will
to man some of these pipelines.
Just 1 second, comrade.
Correct.
If the problem is the will to do, is that a covert, in your opinion, is that a covert sanctioning or approval of the rot that's going on?
Yes, because they have not told us why they are not able to muster the will to get it done. That could be the insinuation. It could be the insinuation, because if your economy is being brought to comatose, you realize that NNPC in the last several months has not been able to remit money to the Federation account. Because most of the bulk of the money that comes in, they use it for fuel subsidy. That is understandable. But if our production today, if we are hitting 2 million barrels today, or at best, we are doing the OPEC quota, which is about 1.82 million barrels per day, I believe strongly that even beyond the subsidy, NNPC would have been able to be remitting money to the account. So every government should be worried, most especially when its revenue is dwindling, not to be going cap in hand, going all over the world and crowding local financial institutions to get loans to fund your appropriation act. For us, we don't think it is right. So in terms of the will, clearly the will is not there. We have seen it. If you look at it, in August, it was just reported a few days ago that our production further dropped down to 972,000 barrels per day. Before now, we barely even get to a million plus. But in August, it went down. That shows that clearly the production is still going down. So for any government that is serious, they should know that no, this is a monster that we must confront. Clearly, they have the intelligence, they have the information. Some of the engagement we have had shows clearly that it's not because of a lack of intelligence, but it's majorly the will to fight this. As I have said, it's a total conspiracy, 100% conspiracy against the people of Nigeria.
Comrade, you referred to the managing director of NNPC and the statement he made earlier in the week. But those that he was pointing accusing fingers to have given a rebuttal and denied any involvement. And then you had this protest. Has there been any response since the protest took place?
Yes. First of all, you know, in Nigeria, we live in denial. When you catch somebody today stealing a goat, the person will go to court tomorrow and swear to affidavit that he never stole a goat. Clearly, the oil and gas companies operating in the Niger Delta, they pay security forces on a daily basis. They hire army, they hire naval officers to protect most of these installations. Yes, they do. So what the questions we have asked is this: when you post soldiers, when you post naval ratings to protect these pipelines, and at the end of the day, these pipelines are compromised, what are the investigations that you have carried out? Who are the people that you have recalled? It's not just to recall the soldiers and send them to another area. No. You bring them in, at the end of the day, you investigate. And once you investigate, if people are indicted, they should be prosecuted to serve as deterrents to others. If all you simply do is to move them and transfer them to other areas, and you send some new people there, they will repeat exactly the same thing. So we must learn consequence management in Nigeria. In the Western world, people choose to do what is right, not because they are sent, not because they intended to do what is right, but because they know that if they do the crime, they also do the time. So that is what we must learn. But secondly, to your question, yes, since we started the protest, we'll be having calls all over. They have been giving us assurances on some of the things that they have put in place, referring to even the contract that was awarded to the company that was associated with Tompulu, that for them, they believe that let's allow this process to run, that they believe this could be the tonic that will change the system. But do you know that we have advocated in the last 6 months and 1 year that government should, in the interim, develop a local solution? Then you can start thinking of the long-term solution. That the local solution that you could develop could be something bordering on involving the host communities, involving the local chiefs, and also, have a multi-stakeholder approach to this issue. So that is actually what we have recommended in the last 1 year. If this was done a long time ago, by now, we wouldn't have been where we are today. But will this sustain it in the long run? The answer is no. Because tomorrow, if let's assume a particular company, local company, you are awarding them a contract, and the contract runs for 2-3 years. Then maybe after the 3 years, you are now awarded to another company. There could also be a protest from that initial company because it's from the host community. So we must also develop technological capacity to get these issues resolved. Can we resolve this? We strongly believe we can, if the will is there. And if, oil and gas business is a multi-billion-dollar business. So the companies working in the Niger Delta, they are all ready to partner with the regulators. They are all ready to partner with government to get these issues resolved. They are ready to invest in the sufficient technology to get these issues resolved. SPDC the last time has commenced some research in this regard. So for us, we think all stakeholders must come together to get the issues resolved. Otherwise, I can tell you that if this problem is not solved, before the end of the year, crude oil production could go down as low as 500,000 barrels per day. Remember, it's been average of 1.2, 1.3 million barrels per day. But in August, it went down to 972. Before the end of the year, it could go further down. So the government must wake up. This is a clarion call to them because it is greatly affecting our members. Our members are losing jobs because companies are shutting in the Niger Delta that they can no longer produce. They are not paying the salaries of our members, and Nigeria as a government is not also making revenue.
Now, one of the findings that is out there is that if you carry out the threat that you have in mind, Nigeria could lose about 1.37 trillion naira. By your own estimation, what has Nigeria lost so far to this theft?
Ayo, if you simply take, okay, as of today, you know, most of this theft is being recorded in the onshore operations. So onshore and swamp operations, maybe shallow waters, but not really deep offshore. The reason we are still able to produce average of 1 million barrels per day is because, I mean, that 1 million barrels per day is attributable to the deep offshore productions, the Akpo FPSOs, the Gina FPSOs, Usan, Bonga, Agbami, and all that. But in the onshore, that accounts for close to 30–40% of our production. That is where we have the challenge as of today. So now, if you look at before the pandemic started, we were actually doing about 2 million barrels per day. But today, we are doing average of 1 million barrels per day. So if you take your Excel and you impute this, and you multiply this by the quantity or by the price of crude oil, once you multiply it and multiply it by the number of days we have suffered this problem, then you could see the humongous amount of money. If you do it yourself, the calculator, I can assure you that you are going to have a lot of race to pass. But if you use your Excel, it could give you an indication of where we are today. So losing over 500,000 barrels per day. Remember, it's not that they steal this entire crude that I have just said here. But what now happened is that a lot of companies do not have shut-in productions. So they don't send the crude into the pipeline anymore. But the fact that they have shut down production, it is attributable to the crude oil theft. So that means the total volume that is being shut in and stolen is over 500,000 barrels per day. So it's very simple. All Nigerians can take their Excel sheet and get the calculation done. It is humongous. But part of this money, you know, is a joint venture business. In the JV, then you have the PLCs. So averagely, 60% of these is supposed to be what is accruable to the Nigerian government. Averagely. Then about 40% will go to the operating companies. So what that means is that if you take that 500,000 barrels, you find 60% of it, that gives you maybe around 300,000 barrels. So multiply it by the expected value. You see the challenge. And because of this as well, the government has not been able to pay cash call to most of the operating partners. They've not been able to pay cash call for a very long time because they are not making revenue as well. So it's a big problem, it's a total problem. Yes, as per what we lose if we go on our threat, the point clearly is that we don't really want to get to that point. That's the reality. We are extremely patriotic. We don't want to get to that point. But, Ayo, what is the use? Every day you go to farm, you have tomatoes farm. So you are producing the tomatoes at the point of harvest. You have people come to the farm, they steal your tomatoes. Then you go back again next year, you do the same thing. If it is you, what are you going to do? You are going to find solution to it. Or rather, you pack up and you move on. We have lost billions of dollars of investment because of this problem.
Comrade,
most of the IOCs today, you know, they are divesting. They are divesting. One of the reasons that they are divesting is actually because of this menace. That is why most of their onshore production facilities, they are divesting. ExxonMobil, you heard the last one, ExxonMobil and Seplat. I mean, they've been in discussion and all that because the entire JV operations, they want to let go. Although ExxonMobil is not as hit compared to SPDC, MPDC, Total E&P and all that. So it is a monster, it is a problem that must be confronted.
Comrade, among your concerns is the fact that many of those doing this business, as you call it, are those who are in government. So, are you helping government in the investigation at all? And have you given them the information that you have?
Yes, like I said, you know, we have members cut across the entire facilities. We have members in all the production sites in Nigeria. So as much as the information we have, we pass them on. That's the reality. So as much as information that we have, we pass them on. Then also, when government, we are ready to partner with all stakeholders. We are ready to provide as much information that we can, that are available to us, because this is our industry. We mustn't allow it to die. because a lot of Nigerians and a lot of households are going to suffer. If you trace the number of people that are dependent on an average oil and gas worker, it's humongous. In fact, an average oil and gas worker is like a local government chairman, just as every other Nigerians are as well. But because of the position the oil and gas occupy in the industry, so it could be said that the dependence on an average oil and gas worker is much more than any other worker in any other industry in Nigeria on an average basis. So, for us, we are ready to partner with government. For us, we are ready to provide information. That we have been doing, and that we are still ready to do. We are ready to provide solutions on how this could be done. Like we have said, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of researches that are available all over the world. Mexico was facing this kind of issue at the time, but today Mexico has been able to put that behind them. Then as well, in Saudi Aramco, if you see the entire control room of Saudi Aramco, it spans several acres because they use that control system to monitor what happens across the field locations and across the pipelines. We need to put system in place to be able to know the total oil production in Nigeria. We need to put systems in place to be able to know how much of this do we send into pipeline, how much of this do we put into tankers. I mean, we must develop the capacity.
Comrade, I beg your pardon. Comrade, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. We're running out of time, and we need to discuss with you before you go in what ways you think that this can be curbed. Pengesan must have some ideas as to what government can do.
Yeah, one, at the short run, government must quickly, meet with the host communities in these major areas where this problem has been, because it's not really everywhere in Niger Delta. There are places that this has been spotted, like the high point where this happens on a daily basis. You must partner the host communities. You must quickly get security agencies down there. Anyone that compromised must be made to face the music. It's not that one person compromised and you now change that person and bring another one. No. If anybody compromised, that person must be made, must face court martial, and at the end of the day, if possible, the person will be jailed if found guilty. When you do that and you send any other officers there, they will all do what is right. That's number one, in the short run. But in the long run, we must invest in technology. Today, there are drones all over the world. There are
just a quick one, comrade.
Like I've said over and over again.
On the short run intervention that you talked about, I see that in all of these conversations, we don't generally involve the oil producing states. Yet they have, that is a derivation fund that they also get. Is there a role that you see for state governments in this short run intervention that you talked about?
Yes, because the shortage in revenue today, it affects the 13% derivation. Because when you are going to collect and there is no money coming to government from the crude, your 13% derivation is gone. Yes, there is a huge role for state. I mean, when I say government, the government I'm referring to is not just federal government. We have government at the three levels, federal, state, and local. So it is the three of them whenever I refer to government and the various arms of government, because they are all government. So we don't care if it is local, federal, or state. But they should all come together, and these states, they have more information, much more than federal. So there must also be synergy between the state government as well as the federal government. Because these state government, they are the ones that appoint traditional rulers.
Comrade,
so
quickly, tell us what you have in the long term, because we have to close now. Quickly, in one sentence, in the long term, what is your suggestion?
In the long term is technology. Drone technology, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, all these must be brought together, and you develop a control unit and a control system where our entire production and flows across the pipelines and across the terminals and production sites must be monitored. So that at the end of the day, you have real-time information. Whenever any of this pipeline is being compromised, you get the information immediately, and you deploy security forces there to get this call. So we must invest in technology, and this is doable.
Comrade Festus Osifo, President Pengesan, which is the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Sunrise will return in
Thank you
just
so
a
much,
moment with
Ayo.
another interesting conversation. Do join us.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.